from the entire semester. Last Tuesday, we had 15 students test positive, which is pretty good for like one day, considering that there's 15,000 people on campus. But however, like normally the rise in cases, we have a graphic over here that we can bring up, but it's been definitely like a pretty sharp rise in cases, because normally it's about 4 or 5 cases that are positive every day, and it's been over 10 for about the past few days. So as you can see here, so since October, we had about 8 cases was I think our highest, but as you can see, like following the start of November, it definitely increases pretty sharply. And these are, although you can't see like exactly what number we're looking at here, that highest number right there is 15. And it's been, luckily it hasn't hit that since, but it is concerning for people across the university and across the state as cases do continue to rise. So Ellie, you're joining us from UPenn. What's going on over there?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, as Lauren said, I am at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. We have a little bit higher numbers than what you guys are talking about. From what I have up, there were 5,000, just a little over 5,000 tests the week of the 8th. And we had 84 positive results with a positivity rate of 1.6%. You can see here on this graphic. I guess hearing your numbers, it's a little especially concerning. And I'm also here thinking we are not on campus. There's a pretty good percentage of students who, if they live off campus, they're allowed to come back. Allowed, I guess, is the university can't control us if we're off campus. On campus housing is completely like no one is living on campus. It's not allowed. So given that, these numbers are definitely a little scarier than what I'm hearing from you guys.
That's definitely, yeah. It's different here. The only reason that cases I think have been so low is because everyone's required to get tested 3 times a week if you're living on campus. So that's interesting to hear that they're not allowing anyone on campus. They're allowing students to live off campus at Boston University, but if you are going to be living off campus and still go into a university building, they require that you get tested at least once a week. So we've had like a certain number of like required tests. Like, is that something what you guys are requiring at UPenn?
No, so they can't, I don't think they can technically require people, because in theory, no one is on campus. That said, okay, they do have testing, like facility, I guess, set up in one of our buildings, which has been great. They are really fast at getting results, which I appreciate. So I think there was something that they wanted to have it required that people around here were tested once a week, but I haven't heard anything about that. I personally am getting tested once a week, because I want to be safe.
Right.
And, yeah.
Have tested every 2 weeks. And it's like required for a student to do a symptom checker. Whenever you need to enter a building, you have to do a symptom checker and show it to the security. And that is, I think, also it's kind of safe in the way. Also, like the social gathering is 6 people maximum. I think that's how we were able to control the cases on campus, at least.
Yeah, so actually, we have a pretty interesting comment here from one of our viewers that apparently COVID has a 99.5% survival rate. So I'm not 100% sure where those numbers are coming from, but if you take into consideration that there's 7 billion people on this planet, I think it's just interesting to also bring up that 0.5% of the human population is millions and millions of people. So that's, of course, why we want to be careful and keep, everyone in mind for their own personal safety. So just thought I'd mention that. Yeah, that's obviously really important because 0.5% of the world's population is a lot of people. So, of course, luckily, we've been able to kind of keep it under control in the United States. Well, that's fairly inaccurate lately. Things were getting better, but I think it's fair to say that this is the second or sometimes considered third wave of cases that we're going through right now. And hopefully things will be, calming down, but it doesn't look like that's anywhere in sight. But have you guys noticed, has anything changed in, your university regulations following, this new spike in cases?
I can speak on that a little.
Yeah.
So again, it's a little difficult to, I think, for Penn to kind of come out and say what is, required, given that they can't, we're not here in theory. Although they do know that there's a lot of people around campus. With respect to next semester, though, as of now, their plan is to have a hybrid situation where some classes are in person, but the majority are online, and they are opening online. They're opening on-campus housing for a certain number of students, including first-year students who are not here. I will also say that Philadelphia, the city, has, as of yesterday, has added a large number of much stricter restrictions following a good number of cases that have been rising in the city. So we might have, I can list some of those if people are interested.
Yeah.
But
no pressure. Oh no, I was just gonna say no pressure if you can't find that information, but yeah, no, definitely interesting to see that there are some, new precautions being taken.
Yeah, also in terms of NYU Bugabi next semester, the university allowed its students to leave off campus as well, which it's just going to be across the street. We have a building that is built for the residential people, and so yeah, there'll be an open up more buildings for students to live, and all the students would not have a double room. We would all have most likely single rooms, so that students would not have to share space with anyone else, and that is something that's happening next semester. Yeah. And also the hybrid situation is also happening, that some of the classes would be in person and also online. So I think that's something that we should keep in mind.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to hear, what's going on in other parts of the world and in Philadelphia, because here in Boston, they just reinstated new restrictions for curfew and things like that. They're requiring that restaurants are to be shut down by 9:30 p.m. when in the past there was no limit. So they're trying to get people to not congregate in groups and social events as much. They changed the restrictions of outdoor events from 50 to 25, and I believe they might be changing that soon as well. And they changed the indoor gatherings from 15 to 10. So they're definitely trying to cut down on how many people are actually together. They try to dissuade people from meeting in groups of over 5 in general, but it's not considered against the rules or against state protocol if people do gather in those sized groups, unless over those regulations, of course. But we can switch gears. I think now is probably a good time to switch gears and start talking about the election. It's interesting to still see that there are people that are still contesting the results of the election, and that it's still technically not over. I'm curious. I know, Ellie, that you were in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania. That was one of the highly contested states that everyone was paying very close attention to, not so long ago. So I'm just curious, what was that experience like being in Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia while this was happening?
Yes, so being in Philadelphia was a really, really great experience. If people are anyone watching this is interested, I did go live on my Haps account if from downtown when I was there, which was really, really great to see. I walked downtown with a roommate, and I was in front of City Hall on Broad Street, which is like big street here in Philadelphia, which was just, there were so many people, so excited, chanting, you know, singing songs, and every single person was in a mask, which I was really happy about. Um, and yeah, the energy was just something really, really special that I'll definitely remember forever. And one thing is, yeah, so it was great to be here specifically because, like you did hint at, Pennsylvania was instrumental in, you know, helping Biden, but also Philadelphia specifically. The results came in later, and so they helped flip the state, and so people were calling here Flipadelphia, which I found on too. Um, yeah, so yeah, so I think, you know, countrywide, more people were showing up to vote, right? It was record turnouts, if I'm not mistaken. I imagine that is was definitely the case in Philadelphia as well. I know that speaking to, you know, student efforts in particular, we had a group called I believe they're called Penn Gets Out the Vote, who were really active in trying to help people, you know, uh, help people with registration, with voting questions. I know I tried to be as helpful as I could to other students who were around either in Philadelphia or voting absentee from where their current or their permanent residents are. So yeah, the energy was really great here. I don't have the stats, but I would not be surprised if we saw a lot more people. Um, in terms of hearing about any voter fraud here, I did not hear about anything other than the fact that voter fraud is incredibly rare and is being blown out of proportion by certain people in office. I mean, I don't know exactly what we're going to see. I think it's going to be up to other officials, other national, you know, government officials to step up and recognize that this is, you know, just a direct threat to democracy or something.
And they're feeling more secure and also less stressed. I think some of the students said that it's kind of like witnessing a history, watching the elections going on in the United States, because definitely it's affect everybody in the world, not just being an international student, but it's also like affecting like literally everybody, not just like the students, and a lot of the students, some of the students are also concerning about the Black Lives Matter, also, or the human rights, sorry, in general, and because President Trump, his sorry, what's it called? His protocol, it was very difficult to like talk about the human rights, and right now, it's definitely possible to talk about Black Lives Matter in public. Yeah. Well, they're more definitely like less stressed and more released in terms of like applying to the visa for international students, and I think they are more excited for the new change as well. I would say there's something that have been like more looking forward for international students who hope to study in the United States in the future. Yeah, at least some of the people that I've talked to have definitely would like to go to the States to study more. Mhm. Yeah.
Coping mechanism, if nothing else, for what's been going on, and some healing fuel. I have been making some political comedy, satire, newsy videos, which, if you're interested, you can find on my Instagram, my YouTube, which all of my accounts are linked on my page. So would love to hear what people think if anyone's interested in checking that out. Thank Hi, Ellie. Thank you guys for having me.